Our Region's Business is sponsored by PNC for the Achiever in You. Welcome to Our Region's Business with your host, Bill Flanagan.
Today on Our Region's Business, the Carnegie Bosch Institute at CMU celebrates 25 years of modernizing management, plus a success story 25 years in the making, the Extra Mile Education Foundation. But first, the University of Pittsburgh is teaming up with the Hillman Foundation and Duquesne Light to develop a next-generation power grid. The focus with the Hillman Foundation is on direct current. The strategic partnership with Duquesne Light will inform future grid design and provide research opportunities for students and faculty in Pitt's Swanson School of Engineering. And Greg Reed is back with us. He's the director of the Center for Energy and the Electric Power Initiative at the Swanson School. And welcome back. Good to see you again.
Hi, Bill. Always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, these were two big announcements to close out your year. This is a pretty big deal, even for Pitt.
It really is. It's fantastic. We made these announcements a couple of weeks ago at our annual conference, our Electric Power Industry Conference, one with Duquesne Light, the partnership that we'll be working with them in terms of, as you mentioned, grid design, and we're working on microgrids and new ways of looking at distributed energy resources and the technologies that integrate all of that into the distribution system. And then the Hillman grant is terrific. It's an extension of an opportunity grant that we started with last year to look at direct current architecture for modern power systems. So it's a program that we call DC AMPS. Okay. And so they're very significant. The Duquesne Light partnership is $500,000 in support and funding, as well as some in-kind donation they'll be making for expansion of our capabilities for labs and equipment. And the Hillman grant is for $2.5 million. So it's really terrific for us, absolutely.
Well, and Duquesne Light right now, as I understand, is really in the thick of trying to figure out how to modernize the existing structure. Is that a big part of what this is going to be about, helping them understand how to make the grid as we know it better?
It is. And they've invested tremendously to date and will continue to invest in modernizing their grid and their infrastructure, and they're looking at concepts of the utility of the future. And so it's terrific for us. It's a great partnership. They're going to really benefit from our students and our faculty in terms of new developments that we're working on that we can implement into their system and demonstrations that they want to do in their network, and we're going to learn a lot from them, obviously. It's a great opportunity for our students, our faculty, to take what we're doing in the lab and put it into practice and deployment in an actual grid application. So one of the things that we'll be doing is working with them on a microgrid development at their Woods Run facility on the north side. So we're obviously very appreciative of their generosity and their vision in this.
Well, it is a little bit of back to the future because it was Pittsburgh engineers, and Duquesne Light was one of the early electricity distribution companies. Right. A lot of these technologies were first worked out here in our region over a century ago.
That's right. And back then, the grid was different and doing different things that it needs to do today. So there is a new evolution that we're going through with grid architecture, but Duquesne Light was absolutely at the forefront of all of that because so much of the history of the industry, from Westinghouse and Tesla and the original War of the Currents, part of it was fought here in Pittsburgh. And then as we became a great industrialized city, Duquesne Light's grid grew with that and became one of the more prominent urban electric utilities in the country. And so today they're dealing with an aging grid that needs modernized, and they're doing a very good job with modernizing that and upgrading it and maintaining high reliability. This though really takes it to the future of where that grid needs to go and how it needs to adopt to all the new things that we're seeing with distributed resources, more consumer engagement. And it's not just about the technology. While we'll learn a lot about that, part of the value here for Duquesne Light is to see how these technologies are going to interface with their network in a new way, and what that might mean in terms of how we try to adjust and adapt new policy and regulation towards the future of the electric power industry.
So you mentioned the War of the Currents. That was between Westinghouse and Tesla and Edison, and it was alternating versus direct current. Westinghouse won. Alternating current is everywhere, and yet the Hillman Foundation is working with you on direct current. So what gives with this big push?
Well, so that big push is we're starting to see, again, a new evolution of coming back to the future of DC power, because so much of our end-use devices now with LED lighting and home and business electronics and data centers, it's all driven by just small DC voltages and currents that we need to operate them. And you add to that battery storage technologies, electric vehicles, which are batteries, solar energy production, all of that is inherently DC technology. So it's making a better match now between delivery and end use as well as resources. So we're starting to see a big growth potential in the new development and application of direct current-based technologies to make that efficient, connection between, again, resources and end use much better today than what it's been in the past decades. So part of what we're doing with the Hillman grant is leveraging it with programs like what we'll be doing for Duquesne Light, so there will be some definite overlap in that. We'll probably be demonstrating some of the DC capabilities with what we do in some facets of the Duquesne Light work. But beyond them, just many other community and industry partners that we've been working with for a long time, like Eaton and Mitsubishi Electric and others, will really be able to leverage what we're doing in the lab with the DC AMPS program from the generosity of the Hillman Foundation to work with manufacturers and end users of this new technology to make Pittsburgh, again, a strong nexus of demonstration and deployment. So we're working with a lot of local companies, for example. One is Pitt, Ohio Express.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, do we have a lot of expertise in sort of the industrial side and the supply chain side here in Pittsburgh as well to sort of build out this vision?
We do. So one of the projects that we did with part of the funding from our original grant from the Hillman Foundation on DC AMPS was with Pitt, Ohio Express, who's built a brand new distribution center out in Harmer. And we worked with them to design and engineer a very unique renewable energy integration and storage microgrid all through a DC interface. It's the first of its kind anywhere. And that project also involves support from Pitt, Ohio Express, who have been very generous and very visionary in their own right. And it involved 11 organizations to bring the project team together, and it's being implemented right now. 10 of those 11 companies are within 25 miles of where we sit. So there's a tremendous regional story here in the ability of our community and the companies and the others who are participating in this to really, provide leadership for the country.
Well, it is so exciting to see. Congratulations for Pitt and your two partners for getting these grants, but also exciting to see our region again emerging as the leader and figuring out how to make a better grid. We invented it here, so it's appropriate we've got this role too, I think.
It really is. As we move into the future, it's appropriate that Pittsburgh takes the lead again. So this is exciting for us.
All right, Greg Reed from the Swanson School at Pitt. Thanks so much. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Bill.
And next up, we'll head across Junction Hollow to see how researchers at CMU have been revolutionizing the world of management for the past quarter century. Stay with us.